I'm not sure if I mentioned this concept yet, but I like to think of the body as a human Petri dish. And by that I mean that when you think about whether a food is good to put in a certain time or why your body's responding in a certain way, think about it in terms of as if it was a science project and you were trying to figure out logically why something was happening in the body. So for example, if you were having a lot of carbonic gas, or if there's a lot of fungus in your blood and you're going to put fruit sugars in, think about what's going to happen there. Think about what's going to happen if you know that something's sitting in your stomach and you want to put a vegetable juice in. Where are things? Is this going to be a good choice? Not just in general. Is this a health food? Yes, green juice is a health food. It's a health generator, the best kind. But is it going to be a health generator in this context, in this Petri dish at this moment? And that's where we use transit time. Transit time tells us how long a food or a combination of foods goes from, to use this term, chew to poo. From the time you take it in to the time it leaves you, that's going to be the transit time. Now, you can also have transit time in the stomach, how long it takes to get from, to leave the stomach. And many people are amazed how long transit time can take in the stomach if they're miscombining their foods. Having said that, let's just go through each food category, and we can talk a little bit about transit time, focusing on transit time in the stomach because that's what is going to be most applicable to your lives right now. And that would be, we'll start with fruits. Fruits, depending on how dense they are, will take between 15 to 45 minutes in the stomach. If they're a very water-containing fruit, like the melons, they'll take about 15 minutes. If they're something heavier, like an avocado, that's going to be more like the 45-minute point. And then apples and pears and grapes will take somewhere in between, probably about 20 to 30 minutes. Raw salads, if they're well chewed, will take approximately an hour and a half in the stomach. Cooked vegetables will take about 2 hours. If they're non-starchy, starchy vegetables will take about 3 hours. And then I'll mention a few combinations that will take approximately 3 to 4 hours. A high-quality grain with vegetables, a high-quality fish with vegetables, or the goat and sheep cheeses with vegetables. Those would all take approximately 3 to 4 hours. And that will depend on how much of it you've taken in and how it was prepared. Was there oil? Was there all these different factors? But generally speaking, you can imagine for a properly combined meal, 3 to 4 hours. And once you move beyond that into something like chicken or denser fleshes, we're talking more like 4 to 5 hours. And when you introduce meats, it can really start to take a long time. But still, when you properly combine them, you're going to be much, much better off than if you didn't. So moving into that sort of 6-7 hour point for dense meats. But based on what you're going to be eating, expect 3 to 4 hours. And then if your system is really clean, or once your system becomes really clean, you can expect about a 16 to 18 hour full transit time, meaning from full chew to poo. That's in a clean system, though. The reason that the food can go that fast, in some cases even faster through a clean system, is because where there's emptiness, a vacuum effect is created. And that's another reason why having a good, clean, empty bowel and maintaining your bowel cleansing is going to be so essential. Because if your bowel is full, your transit time is going to be much slower, because that part of your intestine that could be empty and creating a vacuum effect, which is a good thing, it enables the substance you've taken in to fill that space, to rush into it and move through you faster, which is what's supposed to happen. So if that's blocked, then that vacuum effect isn't going to happen. You're not going to have the benefit of that. And it's a really cool thing to experience when you start to see just how much faster. And somebody also asked a question about frequency of what was it? I think it was in this class. What to expect after a colonic if you don't go as frequently after you have one. You will later. It's just in the beginning your body's getting used to this. But once that vacuum effect is created, your body's going to just zip this food right on through.